In a mixed orientation society, there are several barriers to the complete polarization that is the end result of the transformation process. As might be expected, these barriers are all to the favor of those in the service to self, who prefer to have those in the service to others around as prey. Beyond the obvious fact that the two orientations can physically intermingle in a mixed orientation setting, there is the tendency of those in the service to others to feel responsible for others and to linger. Ultimately, through death and the sorting out that goes on prior to the next incarnation, the orientations do separate, if only because all those not in the service to others have been removed. As life on Earth will get increasingly desperate, with food shortages and injuries and a continual high level of panic, those in the service to others will feel strongly drawn to remain with those in need. In truth, there is not much that can be done to change the circumstances, as life will be rough at best, and subsistence about the best that can be hoped for among humans not living in hybrid communities. But what can be adjusted are attitudes and expectations, which can be adjusted to reality and in anticipation of future circumstances. Separation of the orientations is inevitable, and any guilt trips those in the service to self try to lay on conscientious humans should be put firmly into this context. Those in the service to self should be thrown onto their own resources to fend for themselves, which in any event is the setting they can anticipate in the future. To placate and wait on those in the service to self only creates ultimately a ruder shock in the future. Thus, it is in fact a kindness to refuse to be their servant class. The standard of living will drastically drop. Titles and positions attained will lose their meaning, and any false sense of security from savings, accounts or possessions will shatter. Thus, all those who survive the pole shift will need to adjust to the new reality. Where this will be difficult for all, it will be most difficult for those who are used to demanding service. Their demands will increase in proportion to their sense of deprivation, which will be acute. Exhausted and half-starved themselves, stoic humans in the service to others orientation will find themselves surrounded by a chorus of wailing and angry demands. Do something about this situation will be the demand when there is nothing to be done. Thus, those in the service to others orientation, anticipating this, should learn to tune a deaf ear to all demands on them, as they will have their hands full simply doing what they know needs to be done. Self-help, wherever possible, should be the rule, as the burden on responsible individuals in the service to others orientation, attending to the needs of all around them, will be overwhelming. These individuals will be the ones keeping the mechanisms of food and energy production and shelter construction in motion, who will do the planning and organising and rallying the distraught to address the steps that need to be taken. These individuals need to keep themselves strong, else, if they drop from exhaustion, there will be no leadership. Thus, whimpering employees for assistance should be met with the counter-demand that such assistance only be requested when self-help has been tried, and tried repeatedly, and given only when it is obvious to all that assistance from others is needed.